Damascus, a city that has been continuously inhabited for longer than any other on Earth, for 10,000 years. But is it really that old? How did this city survive when all the other ancient cities disappeared? The al-Hamwi family has lived on Straight Street for 47 generations, from father to son. Their houses are built on Roman foundations. These foundations rest on Aram stones. Every era has come and gone. The Assyrians, the Persians, the Romans, the Arabs, the Crusaders, the Mongols, and the Ottomans. But the family remained. 2013, the Syrian Civil War. A barrel bomb fell on Straight Street. For the first time in 10,000 years and across 400 generations, the al-Hamwi family left. They are the oldest family in the oldest city. Even if they are forced to leave, Damascus will remain standing. Can any city survive 10,000 years? Damascus did. If you want to see how, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's go back to the beginning. 10,000 BC. The last ice age is coming to an end. Hunter-gatherers arrive at an oasis fed by the Barada River, which flows from Mount Hermon. This is Ghouta, the green area that will later become the city of Damascus. There is fresh water, fruit trees, and game animals. It is an ideal area for human settlement. They did not just come for a season, but permanently, and they never left. All other ancient settlements such as Jericho, Çatalhöyük, and Ur were eventually abandoned. However, Damascus was never abandoned. For 10,000 years, without interruption, people have lived in this oasis. This is why Damascus is the city that has been continuously inhabited for the longest period of time in the world. 1100 BC. The Bronze Age is collapsing across the Mediterranean region. The Arameans, a Semitic people, arrive in Syria. They capture Damascus and establish it as their capital. For the first time, Damascus acquires a name we recognize, Dimashq. The Arameans built temples, palaces, and walls. They spoke Aramaic, a language that would dominate the region for the next 2,000 years. Jesus also spoke Aramaic. Damascus becomes a wealthy trading city, controlling the caravan routes between Mesopotamia and Egypt. The Aramean kingdom of Damascus is powerful, sophisticated, and wealthy. However, it is about to face enemies from the south. Around 1000 BC, King David of Israel expanded his kingdom. According to the Bible, he conquered Damascus and established garrisons there. Damascus was under Israeli control for a short time. David's empire stretched from Egypt to the Euphrates River. However, this situation did not last long. Following Solomon's death, Damascus was liberated. An Aramean commander named Rezon seizes the city and declares its independence. The Aramean Damascus kingdom is reborn. For the next 250 years, Damascus and Israel were rivals, sometimes allies and sometimes enemies. Damascus maintained its independence. However, a much greater threat was rising in the east. 732 BC. The Assyrian Empire is the superpower of the ancient world. King Tiglath-Pileser III advances westward. Damascus refuses to surrender. The Assyrians lay siege to the city for 2 years. Despite the city's resistance, the walls are breached. The Assyrians stormed inside. They plunder and burn the city. King Rezin of Damascus is executed. The people were deported to Assyria, with thousands marching eastward in chains. Damascus is destroyed. For the first time in 9,000 years, this great city is reduced to ruins, but it will be rebuilt many times over. 332 BC. Alexander the Great conquers the known world. He defeats the Persians at the Battle of Issus. He then advanced south through Syria. Damascus does not resist. The city opens its gates. A wise move. Alexander does not burn the city down. Instead, he leaves a Macedonian garrison and continues his march towards Egypt. Damascus becomes part of the Hellenistic world. Greek culture, Greek language, and Greek architecture flourish. For the next 3 centuries, the city is ruled by Alexander the Great's successors, first the Ptolemies of Egypt, and then the Seleucids of Syria. The city flourished under Greek rule, temples to Zeus, Greek theaters. Damascus became a cosmopolitan city. 34 CE. A young Pharisee named Saul is riding towards Damascus. His mission is to arrest Christians who claim that the crucified Jewish preacher is the Messiah. The temple authorities have given Saul the authority to arrest them. But something happens on the road to Damascus, a blinding light. A voice calls out, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" Saul falls from his horse and is struck blind. His companions take him to Damascus. He cannot see for 3 days. Then a Christian named Ananias arrives. He lays his hands on Saul. Saul's sight returns. Saul is baptized. He changes his name to Paul. The man who was once the greatest persecutor of Christians becomes the greatest missionary of Christianity. This happens here, in Damascus. The street where it happened is still called Straight Street today. A.D. 100. Rome's Damascus is magnificent. The massive columns and marble courtyards of the Temple of Jupiter dominate the city, showcasing the finest architecture in Syria. Inside, the Romans claim to possess a sacred relic, the head of John the Baptist. How did it get there? No one knows. Some say that Herod sent it from Jerusalem. Others claim that it was moved during the Jewish revolt. The story doesn't make much sense, but the people of Damascus believe it. Pilgrims come from all corners of the Roman Empire to see it. The temple became one of the most important religious sites in the Roman East. Damascus is a wealthy, cosmopolitan Roman city, but change is coming. 300 CE. Christianity spreads throughout the Roman Empire. Damascus, the city where Paul was converted, became one of the first major Christian cities. Churches were built in the city. The Temple of Jupiter eventually becomes a church, St. John the Baptist Basilica, the same building, but for a different faith this time. In 395 AD, the Roman Empire split in two. Damascus became part of the Byzantine Empire. For the next 240 years, Damascus was a Greek-speaking Christian city. Aramaic survived in the villages, but Greek was spoken in the city. Damascus is Christian. However, this situation does not last very long. What surprised you most about old Damascus? Was it the fact that it is 10,000 years old and has never been abandoned? Or was it the fact that St. Paul's conversion took place right here on Straight Street? Or was it the discovery of John the Baptist's head in a Roman temple? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey to the world's oldest city, hit the like button and subscribe for more. AD 500. Damascus is a Christian city in the Byzantine era. The Basilica of St. John now stands on the site of the former Temple of Jupiter. The same walls remain, the same columns, but a different god. Inside, pilgrims come to see the head of St. John, which is kept in a silver casket. The church is magnificent, golden mosaics, marble floors, incense. Hymns are sung in Greek. Damascus is now part of the Byzantine Empire, which is governed from Constantinople, 1,500 kilometers away. The city is wealthy, comfortable, and Christian. But in the Arabian desert to the south, something is stirring. A new faith, a new prophet, Islam. 634 CE. Muslim armies arrive at the gates of Damascus. The Byzantine garrison prepares for battle. However, the siege lasted only 6 months. Damascus negotiates. The city surrendered peacefully. Why? Because the Muslim general, Khalid ibn al-Walid, promised there would be no massacre, looting, or forced conversion. Christians could keep their churches. Jews could keep their synagogues. Those who pay the jizya tax would be protected. Damascus accepted this. The gates open. The Muslim army entered the city. No blood is shed. This is one of the most peaceful conquests in history. Damascus is now part of the Islamic world. However, the transition process is slow. Most people are still Christian, for now, at least. 661 CE. Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, the governor of Syria, proclaimed himself caliph, the leader of the Muslim world, and made Damascus his capital. This marks the first time in history that Damascus becomes the capital of an empire. The Umayyad Caliphate stretched from Spain to India. Ruling over an area of 15 million square kilometers, it became one of the largest empires in history and was governed from Damascus. The city overflowed with wealth. Palaces were built. Markets were filled with goods from 3 continents: gold from Africa, silk from China, spices from India. Damascus was at the center of the world. The Golden Age had begun. 715 CE. Caliph al-Walid, I ordered the construction of a mosque on the site of the Basilica of St. John. The Christians protested after all. This was their church. Al-Walid offered them compensation in the form of the city's 4 other churches. They accept. The basilica is demolished. The Umayyad Mosque is built. Construction takes 7 years. It costs 600,000 gold coins. Craftsmen come from Constantinople, Persia, and India. The gold mosaics cover 4,000 square meters, making them the largest in the world. And inside, the head of John the Baptist, the same holy relic. The third building, Muslims revere John the Baptist, known as Yahya in Arabic, as a prophet. The mosque is complete. It is the most magnificent building in the Islamic world. 1,300 years later, it still stands. 750 CE, Revolution. In a brutal civil war, the Abbasids overthrew the Umayyads. All the Umayyad princes were slaughtered. Only one managed to escape. Abd al-Rahman fled to Spain, where he founded a new dynasty. The Abbasids made a decision that would affect Damascus forever. They moved the capital eastwards to Baghdad, a city they had built from scratch on the banks of the Tigris River. Damascus was no longer at the heart of the Islamic world. The palaces emptied. The markets fell silent. The Golden Age came to an end. For 500 years, Damascus had been the capital of empires such as those of the Arameans and the Umayyads. Now, it was just a provincial city. 1148 CE, the Second Crusade began. European knights captured Jerusalem. Now, they want Damascus. 50,000 French and German crusaders are advancing towards the city. They laid siege to the city. Inside, Governor Nur ad-Din is organizing the defense. The siege lasted 5 days. The crusaders cannot breach the walls. Their supply lines are stretched. Meanwhile, Muslim reinforcements arrive from Mosul and Aleppo. The crusader leaders debate. Should they continue the attack or should they retreat? They retreat. Damascus is saved. Nur ad-Din becomes a hero. He will unite Syria and reclaim the land from the crusaders. Damascus survives. However, the Crusades are not over. The city will face this threat for another century. 1260. The Mongols arrive. Hulagu Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan, has destroyed Baghdad. He has reduced the city to ashes. Now, he is coming to Damascus. The city surrenders without a fight. The Mongols plunder the city, but do not burn it down. They stayed for a few months and then withdrew. Damascus survives. However, 141 years later, another Mongol arrives, 1401, Tamerlane. He is even more ruthless than Hulagu. Damascus resists. Mistake. Tamerlane's army breaches the walls. They slaughter 20,000 people. They burn the Umayyad Mosque. They plunder everything. The world's finest metalworkers, glassmakers, and weavers are chained and taken to Samarkand. Damascus is reduced to ruins once more, but it is rebuilt again. 1516. The Ottomans conquered Damascus. Sultan Selim I entered the city unopposed. Damascus then becomes part of the Ottoman Empire for the next 400 years. As a provincial capital, it is governed by the governor of Syria, but administered from Istanbul. The city is stable, peaceful, and comfortable. Pilgrims pass through on their way to Mecca. The pilgrimage caravan gathered here every year. Trade continued. Traditional crafts, such as silk weaving, metalwork, and glassmaking, survive to this day. However, Damascus is far from its former glory days and is merely trying to survive. In fact, it has been doing so for 10,000 years. Then, in 1918, the First World War ended. The Ottomans lost. Damascus was about to face something new, the modern world. 1918. The First World War ends. The Ottoman Empire collapses. Faisal ibn Hussein, the son of the Sharif of Mecca, enters Damascus as the leader of the Arab revolt. For 2 glorious years, Damascus was the capital of an independent Arab kingdom. Faisal is crowned king of Syria. There were dreams of freedom and Arab unity after 400 years of Ottoman rule. However, in 1920, the French arrived. Britain had promised Syria to France in the secret Sykes-Picot Agreement. Faisal refused to submit. The French marched on Damascus. Syrian forces attempted to stop them at the Battle of Maysalun. They were defeated within hours. France then bombed Damascus into submission. Faisal is exiled. The French Mandate begins. Damascus is reoccupied. 1925. Rebels in Damascus rise up against French rule. Syrian fighters control parts of the city for 2 days. France's response is brutal. They bomb Damascus from the air. Shells rain down on the old city. Hundreds are killed. Neighborhoods burn. The French suppress the uprising. However, the dream of independence lives on. For 21 years, Syria resisted French rule through protests, strikes, and political pressure. Finally, on 17 April 1946, the last French soldier leaves Damascus. Syria is free, truly free. For the first time since the Persians conquered it in 539 BC, Damascus was able to govern itself again. Independence. But with freedom came new problems. In 1958, Syria and Egypt united to form the United Arab Republic. One nation was born. Arab unity was achieved. Gamal Abdel Nasser governed the country from Cairo. Damascus lost its independence once more, this time voluntarily. However, the union ultimately failed. Egypt establishes dominance. Syrian officers react against this. In 1961, Syria secedes. The UAR then collapsed. Over the next 9 years, Syria experiences a period of instability. There were coups and counter-coups and governments changed every few months. On 13 November 1970, Defense Minister Hafez al-Assad seized power and ruled the country as a dictator. There were arrests, purges, and a secret police force. Damascus becomes the capital of the dictatorship. For the next 40 years, Syria would be ruled by a single family, and Damascus will remain standing. 1972,000. Hafez al-Assad ruled Syria with an iron fist. In 1982, the city of Hama revolts. His response was to raze entire neighborhoods to the ground. Between 10,000 and 40,000 people were killed. The message was clear: oppose him, and you will die. Damascus remained silent. The Mukhabarat, the secret police, are everywhere. Mention the wrong thing, and you vanish. But life goes on. People work. They marry. They start families. Damascus endures under the Assads, just as it did under the Ottomans, Mongols, and Romans. They do this by remaining silent and staying alive. In 2000, Hafez dies. His son Bashar, an eye doctor educated in England, takes power. People are filled with hope for reform. Perhaps he will be different, but he was not. For 11 years, Bashar ruled like his father. Damascus endures, but change is coming. 2011. The Arab Spring reaches Syria. Protests began in Dara. The government responds with harsh measures. It opens fire on protesters. The uprising spreads. By summer, Damascus was under siege. This time, however, it is not foreign invaders that are besieging the city, but Syrians. Civil war. Assad's forces bomb neighborhoods controlled by rebels. Barrel bombs are dropped from helicopters. It's the same tactic that his father used in Hama. ISIS arrives from Iraq. Then Russia arrived. Then the Americans arrived. The war turns into a nightmare, with 500,000 people dead, 6 million displaced, and cities reduced to rubble. Damascus takes the heaviest blow. The old city, with its 2,000-year-old buildings, is destroyed. A barrel bomb falls on Straight Street. The al-Hamwi house, which had stood for 47 generations and 400 years, is destroyed. The family flees. For the first time in 10,000 years, the oldest family in the oldest city has disappeared, but Damascus remains. 2026. The war is almost over. Assad and his family have fled the country. Syria has been largely destroyed, and half of its population has been displaced. The economy has collapsed. International sanctions have been imposed. The country is isolated. But what about Damascus? Damascus is still standing. The Umayyad Mosque has been damaged, but not destroyed. The old city is wounded, but still alive. Straight Street, where St. Paul was healed, and where the al-Hamwi family has lived for 400 generations, remains intact. People are returning, slowly. Shops are reopening. Children are playing in the streets. Life goes on, because that's what Damascus is. For 10,000 years, it has stood firm. The Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Crusaders, Mongols, Ottomans, French, Civil War. Every empire that has conquered Damascus has fallen, yet Damascus is still here. It is the world's oldest continuously inhabited city. It has survived despite everything, and it always will.